The secret to being special is belief. And as cliche as that sounds, it is 100% true. Everyone has a superpower within them, and that superpower is self belief. And I know a couple months ago, maybe even a year ago, geez, my timelines are being wonky, but people said being the Lulu is the Salulu. And as silly as that sounds, and as much as I dislike the whole social media TikTok aspect, if you truly look into it, being delusional, as in having that intensive self belief, right? I guess that's a form of delusion that becomes the solution to people's problems. Because if you truly believe in yourself and you truly think this one thing, you were going to do that one thing. I'm guessing it relates to the law of manifestation and attraction, where if you do something for so long, eventually you will obtain it. Eventually, something will happen in the context of it. And I'm not saying this hard work pays off. I'm saying this believe in yourself and you never know what might happen. And I think that's the beauty, because there is no answer to what happens if I believe in myself. Because you can do all that work and still not get it. I know I would not, I don't, I disagree with calling it victim, but for lack of better words, a victim to that scenario. Having truly tried my best, having done all the hard work, and it not paying off in the way I once saw it. Did I reap some benefits and rewards? Yes, but I would not have said, "Oh yeah, all the hard work paid off." I would just say I progressed. And I think that's a better way to look at it. To say, "Oh, I didn't reach my goal," and it's better to say, "Oh, I progressed. I moved forward in the direction." Did I specifically attain my objective and what I want? Not necessarily, but I'm a closer I'm a step closer to where I want to be. And from there, because you've taken that leap of faith, because you've actually progressed and you've what it experienced what you need to go where you want to be, you can actually modify your destination. So you can either have a more have more specific short term goals, or maybe you want to modify your overall long term goal. But goals, and why saying I don't like goals, is a different topic. But going back to self belief, I've harnessed that power of self belief. I truly believe, and I guess that's also an example of that delusional self belief, that I got accepted into a significant amount of schools, and not just no name schools, into some pretty big name schools. And the reason I did it is because I didn't let anyone else's story or experience influence mine. When I applied to the Ivies, or when I applied to the top 10s and top 20s, I wasn't intimidated by their reputation. I had a belief that one of them, if not all of them, are going to accept me. If I showcase who I am, one of them is going to realize the value of me. And many did. And almost all of them did, but a large majority of them did. And to put numbers to an anecdote, 11 of the 12 schools just straight out accepted me. And mind you, five, yes, about five, six of those schools are big name schools that are difficult to get into. We're talking 10 to less than 5% acceptance rates that we're talking into, that we're talking about. So just to put some merit on that story and not broadly motivate people, like, no, that is my experience. I believed in myself. And did I have the experience to back it up? Yes. And I guess that's the counter argument people will have, saying, oh, but you had the experience to back it up. But the reason I had that experience is because, one, I was truly trying to be myself and do what I want to do. But more importantly, is number two, is because I believed in myself. I wouldn't have done it if I didn't think it was not worth it. I wouldn't have done it if I didn't think it was fun. I wouldn't have done it if I didn't think it fulfilled me. And in order to feel fulfilled about something, you first need to start believing in it. Because most times, whenever you start acknowledging or start reaping the positive benefits of an action, it's because you start believing and trusting in its methods, the process. You start believing in the process. You need belief. That's why I constantly reiterate the secret ingredient to being special is belief. And the funny thing about this is I actually got this from a video essay that that talked about how fools make great heroes, and it referenced the Lego movie, Kung Fu Panda, and Into the Spider-Verse. Because Poe's journey, Emmett's story, and Miles Morales' becoming all started to click once belief settled in. And I don't want to fully leech off the video, but it makes sense. You know, we don't have that hero's journey. Like, a hero's journey wouldn't be such a story archetype if it wasn't generally true. If that's not how a hero is developed. And one of the turning points for all of those heroes aforementioned was the belief. And even if the belief was made up, that's even better, because it shows how placebos, right? It goes back to the placebo effect. How belief catalyzes everything good after, or even everything negative. That's why we need to be very careful with our beliefs and be very careful of our environment and our influences, because those are the things that influence. I mean, obviously, an influence is going to influence your belief, but you have to be careful of your environment and the people you surround yourself with, because those are the things that are going to influence your beliefs. That's why it's so important to be careful of the things you watch on social media, because social media is most likely where we spend a majority of our days in the modern day world. So it's really easy for our brains to fall down a rabbit hole. Oh, fly. Fall down a rabbit hole of ideas that match our own, and not particularly in a good way overall, or all the time. Because if you have a negative belief and it's constantly reinforced through social media again and again, because the algorithm is tailoring your interests, is tailoring to your interests, that is not good, because that belief starts becoming rooted in your identity. And having something feel like it's your identity is the strongest thing we have. That's the reason why people are egotistical or arrogant, because they think whatever whatever they're seeing is part of their identity wholeheartedly. And all this negativity stems from identity and challenging our identity, because these beliefs become so deeply rooted in our identity. For example, at times I am an asshole. At times I am an arrogant, egotistical prick, because my beliefs are that I am great at math, I am a great learner, and I am a hard worker. But because those things seem so deeply rooted in me, right? Because I have those beliefs that everyone should work hard, math isn't necessarily too difficult. I start to project those beliefs onto other people, and that's where the ego and the arrogance starts to show. It starts to creep out. I get frustrated whenever people don't understand something that I understand fully. I start getting frustrated and demotivated whenever I try to teach a math concept to someone and they don't pick it up. But then later in life, as I meet more people that are more capable than me and obviously have better abilities in all of those fields, I start getting humbled. And the only way for me to get humbled is to challenge those beliefs. And it hurt. It's painful for me to realize, wow, I am an ego. I am an egoist. I am egotistical. I think that's the better word to use, because is egoist a word? Regardless, it's painful to realize that I am a bit egotistical at times. I am a bit arrogant at times, but I think it's more beneficial to focus on the positive and say, but I acknowledge that and I realize that, and I am getting better. I don't frequently have these anger outbursts. I don't have anger outbursts as frequently as I've had in the past. I don't get overly frustrated with my partner and or just anyone in my life in general, or friends or family. And that's good, because I'm becoming a better person, right? I guess in sense of like societal standards, but overall I'm becoming less of a shitty person. But the only reason that I haven't fully changed, and I'm still a shell. I guess I still have remnants of my old self in it, is because I still have those beliefs, and those beliefs are so deeply rooted within me that I am good at math, or I'm better at math, right? I guess there is a difference between those, and I've crossed the line and blended those things together. And because they're so deeply rooted within me, I forget about everyone else, and then I become an asshole to deal with. But I have the self belief that I can change overnight. And have I failed numerous times? Of course. Have I slipped back to my old selves? Yes. But have I continued moving on and have made progress? Yes. And that's what's important, because I still keep that belief that I am changing, I am getting better, but I'm putting action to it. So there's a whole lot more nuance to the conversation than just saying, oh, I believe in myself. There's also believing in yourself and putting your words into action, turning your words into actions. So if you want to change as a person, and yes, I guess I am talking to the audience now. I don't really do this. I usually talk more about myself, but if you want to change as a person or change your identity or become special, you you need to believe. You need to say, I can do this. This is within my reach. I am fully capable. It's similar to affirmations, but it's a whole lot more powerful once it becomes deeply rooted within your identity. Because someone that identifies with fluidity, flexibility, and a wanting, and I guess how do I say this? A wantingness. It's not a word. A desire to change, but be flexible. That person is basically unstoppable. Just picture someone in your life that best resembles that. Right? It could be a celebrity you know, could be a family member, a friend. Just think of someone you know that isn't deeply attached to their beliefs to the point where it weighs them down, where they're able to let things go because they understand people have their own beliefs, right? And by tolerating other people's beliefs, it shows that you have discipline and control within your own beliefs. Because this is a different topic for a different video, but that's a power struggle. That's a power dynamic. That's like interpersonal relationship problems, and that's the reason we get into fights and arguments because of beliefs. So, if you want to change, if you want to become special, you just gotta believe.